Yeah, so you want to focus on the rooms that people use the most. So kitchen, principal bedroom, bathrooms, and the living room. So I say bathroom and kitchens because they're probably the one that people invest the most
sells
in.
homes. Too,
Exactly, yeah. So, and people invest the most in those. They're the most expensive thing to change. So just by sort of slightly updating it, keeping it clean, again, it's gonna help big time.
If you're thinking of selling your home, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to consider staging it. It is a powerful way to make sure your home is show ready for the market. So in this episode, we're going to be talking with an interior designer and getting some top tips on getting your home staged and show ready, or if you just want some top tips of interior design and how to make sure you can enjoy your home to the fullest. I can't wait to dive in, so let's get going. Hi everyone, as you know, Ugo Renze here. I love helping clients buy their perfect piece of London, and part of it also is helping them sell and getting their home, moving on to their next chapter of their life. And so often it's a challenge because a lot of people, especially in this country, I would say, are not as familiar with the concept of staging and marketing and how important that can actually be to making sure you get what you're probably looking for, which is top dollar in the market. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with Alana from Delve Interiors, who's an interior designer. And we're going to be talking about the concept of staging, getting some great tips from Alana, and just really how you can maximize your home experience. And we're in the springtime. It's going to be great to get some tips on freshening up your home as well. So welcome, Alana. Great to have you here.
Hi, Hugo. Thanks so much. It's great to, thanks for asking me.
It's a pleasure. First off, tell us a little bit about you, your practice, and who you like to work with, and whatever else you want to share in terms of an introduction.
Sure. So yeah, I've been in interiors for about 15 years now. Classically trained, so having to sort of adapt to what is now interior design, which is a lot more digital. And yeah, really my kind of signature style, I'd say, is more moody, kind of traditional look, but I do cover sort of the range. Over the years, I've had to do all sorts of different looks. And yeah, home styling is a big part of what I do as well. So yeah, it's just a few tips and tricks on how you can get your home ready.
Great. Yeah, look, from our perspective, as when I am in my sales agent side of the business, we want to make sure that we are really focused on how to maximize the marketing. And people, I think, really underestimate the value of what it takes to show the home. One of the stats out of America I know is the National Association of Realtors. I think they show that over 81% of sellers find real value and can maximize the amount of money that they're getting out of their property by staging their home. So talk to us a little bit about how important staging is and from your perspective, what you see.
Well, first impressions are a big thing. So when you're buying a house, you want to look for something that speaks to you. So most buyers, they're only viewing the property for like a few minutes, maybe a little bit longer if the property's bigger. So you need to make an impact quickly. So by staging it, you aren't just sort of styling and creating basically creating an emotional connection to the buyer. And you want to make that impact quickly. So you need to make sure that your home is at its best for when they come in through that door.
I love that. One of the things I notice is when I work as a buying agent, which, I specialize is, for example, if we go to see a development where they've got multiple units, right? But then they'll have the show unit,
Yes,
and have styled it. Just your ability to get excited about that space is night and day versus going to see the exact, similar unit, same dimensions, that is empty and bare. It's so different.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why a lot of them are moving away from sort of the white box look. And a lot of home, you'll notice a lot of the show homes are adding quite a lot of colour recently because they want to be sort of known. They want to stand out from the crowd because there is a lot of developments going. And so they want to look different. They don't want to look like the same as the developer down the road.
So then what would you say is the first things homeowners should be thinking about when it comes to staging their home?
100% is declutter and clean. It can be as dated as anything in the house, but if it's clean and it's clutter-free, at least then they can use their imagination and imagine themselves in the space. So by just doing that quite simple thing, you're already halfway there to sort of staging your home. It's a huge, it has the biggest impact, I think.
I feel like if it's a home that is so cluttered, you almost can't breathe in it, right? And so you can't see through the space, you can't envision things, and you're so distracted by the clutter that it completely loses the opportunity for you to start imagining yourself in there.
100%. And if you're full of a room that's got everyone's personal belongings in, how are you meant to imagine what your life is going to be like in that space?
And is that something then you would say, because in terms of depersonalizing is one of the tips that comes into it, or what are your thoughts on that?
Definitely. If you're planning on moving, you're going to be boxing up anyway. So anything very, very personal to you, so lots of family photos. If you've got a very strong sort of design look, then by just paring that back a little bit, you're going to help that buyer to kind of see the potential.
And would you say it's very important that you create that blank canvas, or where do you sit on that element of it?
See, a lot of people say it's crucial to have that blank canvas. I sit on the fence with this one. I don't actually think that painting everything white is the best way to go. Yes, if you've got a very strong look, I've got quite a strong look, so I probably might have to pare back if we ever sell. But I think you're better off if you are repainting, actually put warm neutrals in there. Don't go stark white, because that actually can make it feel quite echoey and quite cold. You want to produce a home-like feel. So go for warmer neutrals, just pare back your personal kind of look, and I think that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Okay, that's great. And then when it comes to rooms, are there any particular rooms people should focus on?
Yeah, so you want to focus on the rooms that people use the most. So kitchen, principal bedroom, bathrooms, and the living room. So I say bathroom and kitchens because they're probably the one that people invest the most in.
That's what sells homes.
Exactly, yeah. So, and people invest the most in those. They're the most expensive thing to change. So just by sort of slightly updating it, keeping it clean, again, it's going to help big time.
You know, something as simple as perhaps if you obviously don't want to make a whole investment in changing your kitchen cupboards or cabinets, you might think about changing just the hardware, right?
Yes.
Maybe making it a little bit more modern or contemporary or neutral, right? So you can look at different ways to kind of freshen things up without, breaking the bank.
Yeah, you want to find inexpensive ways of updating it. So yeah, our hardware, definitely a huge thing. And paint is obviously the most obvious because it doesn't cost too much money and you can completely transform a space by that point.
Something even when we go to take photographs, I attend all my own photo shoots because I think that's so important. We really want to make sure we have an attention to detail. But I come with bedspreads. So I come with, beautiful white bedspreads because I'm an unmade bed. I mean, just,
It's a big thing.
It's a thing. And yet people don't even stop to think how that affects the marketing, the pictures we're able to take. So I no longer leave it for my clients. I have different size bedspreads. I bring it and it's a nice, simple, clean look. And then you can, perhaps bring a couple extra pillows and just really pop that on the bed, and instantly you've transformed the space.
Yeah, I think so. And a lot of the time having that kind of neutral duvet set or sheets is, again, a lot of people have patterned looks and you're just trying to create that space where people can, again, use their imagination to imagine themselves in that area.
So with that then, how important is the decor when it comes to the sale?
It is important. As I say, I wouldn't whitewash I wouldn't do everything white, but warm neutrals and perhaps getting if you've got sort of big bulky furniture that's not working with the space, you could think to either put that in storage. And if you do need, I would say keep the place furnished because if you completely empty it, they can't, it's really hard to kind of work out what's going to fit there. So if you've got very dated, bulky furniture, perhaps put that in storage if you want to keep it or sell it on, and then you can rent it. It's really good rental companies out there, and you can get a more contemporary piece that might work better with the space, and again, just helps to elevate it.
And actually with that, should sellers invest in new furniture or just work with what they have?
Ideally work with what you've got. There's no reason you need to spend an absolute fortune. You're selling your home, you're going to be moving to a different space. If you know the space you're moving into and you already want to buy the furniture, some people get excited and they do that, and it works with what you've already got, then yes, buy away and then just use it what you've got at the moment. But I call it a shop my home session, where you just look around your house, see what you can find, and just dot it about and just style it a little bit more carefully as you might if you're always living there. So
yeah, one of the things you said earlier was you're already, hopefully you're of the mindset that you're moving on, right? So you should hopefully be open to boxing up, packing things, getting them out, and maybe it's donating them or finding a storage space. So really, and I think from my perspective, want to help people understand this is an investment to getting the most amount of money. And so I think sometimes people don't always embrace the concept of spending money to get money, right? Or just to facilitate the sale. I mean, it's the difference between a home that is not, appealing could just make it that much harder. So you can end up not getting the price you're looking for, but also it takes that much longer to find the buyer, which is typically means you're not getting maximum sale proceeds on that. So again, it helps people to really think of this as like an investment to
100%.
getting them moved, getting maximum price in the market.
This is it. It is an initial investment, but if you think about if it's the difference between perhaps someone making an offer and offering asking price, it makes a huge difference. And
getting excited about the space.
Exactly. Yeah. You're creating excitement. You're creating them thinking of their life in the house. And just by removing those personal belongings, updating the decor slightly, you've already,
or also, I think, helping people see what rooms can purpose for, right? Especially smaller rooms. I think sometimes people think, leave that bare. And then again, working with buyers, I know when it's an empty small room, they never think that anything will fit.
Yes.
And yet if it's furnished, you're always kind of like, oh wow, is this the same bedroom? Then okay, I can fit a double bedroom and a couple of nightstands. So I think it's, again, when you can, it's so important, especially for smaller rooms as well, to try to get some things in there. Maybe it makes for a great home office. I know since COVID, there's a huge premium on that. So the better you can style that and help people see the potential of a room it's super helpful.
Completely agree. Furnished is so much better than unfurnished because, as you say.
Great. And is there a particular interior design trick that instantly elevates a home? Is there anything you can offer?
There is. It's a really simple one. And that is, well, two things actually. Lighting and having the place smell nice. So there's nothing more off-putting than going to particularly older properties. They can sometimes have a few issues and pets, things like that. You want to cover up that. You again, just by having a nice smell. So diffusers, just a room spray, fresh flowers on the side, instantly smells much nicer. And people are like, oh, this is a lovely place to be. And again, lighting. So this one's like not super important, but I think it's worth mentioning. You get a lot of, particularly newer places that have a lot of spots. They have a lot of spotlights on the ceiling. It's quite harsh. You're actually better off turning those off and layering with lamplight. So it's a much less harsh, again, more cozy environment for people to explore the house and imagine themselves there.
I love that. I know personally, I'm a huge interior design fan and fanatic, and how important lighting is. Huge. And it is so important, if you can, to create those layers of experience. And I've done, renovations and things like that. And the difference that lighting can make. You've spent all this money to fix up a space and then don't invest in proper lighting and then wondering why the final product doesn't work out. So I love that you offer that, because that is very important as well.
Yeah, and listen, you don't even have to invest in loads of lamp. You literally can go on Amazon and there's loads of stuff that's even USB charged. So if you don't have the wiring there, you can buy it from Amazon.
Oh, that's a great
point. And you can dot lamps about without even needing a plug. So there's lots of ways of elevating.
That's a great one. Yeah, there's definitely portable ones now. And what about artwork and accessories? I think you touched on this a little bit in the past and kind of the personal objects, but how much is too much, and what would you say on that?
So I'm a self-confessed maximalist, so I would probably need to scale back quite a lot, but I would say, bring it down a little bit. Make sure you've got maybe one or two pieces of contemporary kind of neutral artwork. Again, you're not filling the whole space. You just want to kind of hint at what could be done. I would say that just sort of pare it back. get a couple of sort of throws, and you've touched on this, some cushions, make the space look cozy, homely, and again, the work's done for you.
Fantastic. And is there any other, I know you've given us a great couple of tips, but is there any one small change that you feel like makes a big difference?
Yeah, so we've touched on it again, but painting and refreshing the decor. So paint has a huge impact. I mean, just by changing the color of the room slightly, you change the whole feel of the space. So that would be my top tip. Just get the paint tins out. Decorators are relatively expensive, but it's quite a relatively simple thing to do yourself if you can, if you want to. But yeah, painting and refreshing, curating your items. So don't have lots of clutter out. Just as I say, shop your home, scale it back.
We had a property, actually a listing that we've got currently in the market, and it had a wall of wallpaper. And again, there was a time where that would have been great. Turned out we had some other issues in the flat. So when we decided, and again, that was my strong recommendation, was just to refresh and paint the whole flat again for the new buyers. And at that point, I recommended that they take the wallpaper down, because what it now means is, again, from a buyer's perspective, when I think they could get stuck with like, oh, what does it take to take that wallpaper down? It's like, it's like one more headache I have to think about. Whereas now the wall is cleared out, it's neutral, and if they want to come in with color, they could do that even as a weekend project, right? And just paint an accent wall, or
That's it. 'Cause obviously, if they've gone for a wallpaper, I'm assuming it was quite strong paper. And again, that's just going to jar you. So you'll see it. If it's not your taste, you're going to be like, and some people don't do a lot of renovations, so they won't realize that it's not too difficult to take it down.
That's right.
So you're better off just doing it yourself and getting those buyers through the door.
And you turn people off. I mean, people start thinking, and some people just can't visualize things. I think you really underestimate that. We assume, maybe because we love interior design, that other people can envision a different version of that, but a lot of people can't. So that's why, again, as sellers, and from my perspective as an agent, in terms of advising clients, is make this as easy as possible for the maximum amount of people, right? The widest net of potential buyers, versus making it so restricted that you need to find that one singular buyer versus multiple people who could envision themselves in that space.
100%.
And when people then do move in, what are some tips you might offer in terms of how to make their home homely as quickly as possible? What would you suggest?
So, and I've done this a number of times, unpack the essentials first. So a lot of the time I would recommend having that in a box separate, probably within the car rather than with the moving guys. And just have everything. So you're like your favorite mug, your favorite blanket, a candle, things that like just feel like home to you. So things that you would have as a ritual in your old home, bring in that box. And that's just, again, you're just getting that emotional tie to the new place, and straight away makes it feel so much more homely. Yeah,
I like keeping that as kind of a separate box that you bring in the car with you, as opposed with the moving van or things like that, so you know where to find it, actually.
Things always get lost in moving, so you're better off having it with you.
And are there any quick changes a new buyer can make when they're in this space? What would you suggest on that side?
Yeah, so again, if you're not looking to decorate immediately, it's just about putting some items in there that's going to change the space quickly. So you're talking bigger items there. So get the sofa set up, get your bed set up. If you've got a nice area rug, put that down straight away. Again, hanging artwork's not too difficult. You've got obviously command strips and things like that. So that straight away will transform the space and just make it more yours.
Yeah, where I live, there's a wonderful frame shop. And again, things like, our phones are taking such great pictures now. You talk about personalizing a space. You could just do a wall of, pictures from your travels or things like that, and spend a little bit to frame them. But there's great pre-made frames as well, right? And putting that up. I know I've got a wall of black and white family photos up on one of my walls in my office, and it makes it feel really connected.
Exactly. And there's lots of online shops as well where you can literally send off your pictures and they frame it and get it back. And
that's true.
That's a beautiful frame, don't get me wrong, is totally worth it. But
exactly.
if you're looking for quick, then online you can do it.
That's a great point. You're right. There's plenty out there. And just, what would you say in terms of balancing comfort and style in those first few weeks, in terms of where the focus should be?
So you're looking to connect with the space. So I would actually prioritize comfort. So like I've mentioned, setting up some cozy throws, your sofa, your bed is a really big thing because you need somewhere to sleep that first night. You don't want to be sleeping on the floor again. That can make you feel kind of disconnected and a little bit overwhelmed.
I like that.
So by just getting that sort of homely feel straight away. And then probably the first room I would set up is the kitchen. You want to be able to eat. You want to have your cup of tea or your coffee in the morning. It's the most practical space, so that's probably the one I'd concentrate on the most.
And finally, is there anything that people might often overlook that, again, you think it's worth highlighting is a feature that they need to think about?
Yeah, so it's things that trigger memory. So smell and sound are a huge, huge thing when it comes to grounding yourself within a space. So stick your favorite playlist on, get your favorite candle on, and immediately you're going to connect and ground yourself in your own home. And just by having it smell familiar, you're already halfway to the point of loving that space.
I love that. Well, thank you. This has been so much fun. I've gotten some great tips and tricks on that I'll apply in my personal space, but also when we work with and advise our sellers and others. So thank you for coming on. It's been great
Thank you for
fun.
having me.
If you haven't checked out Alana on her social media, she's got wonderful, beautiful spaces she's highlighting all the time. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much on all social platforms, but I'm delve.interiors on Instagram. I've got a website as well, again, just Delve Interiors. And then, yeah, obviously my own YouTube as well, but all the same tags, so nice and easy to find.
Great. Well, thanks for hosting us. I've gotten to be in her beautiful home and space here, so can't wait to see you on another episode, but this has been so much fun. And if you are thinking about buying or selling in London, please make sure to get in touch because we are so happy to have a consultation and help you find your perfect piece of land. See you soon.